So, the beach versus the city in the Philippines. The $1,000,000 question. Convenience versus beauty. Not so clean air versus very clean air. The province versus the city. This is the dilemma that all expats and passport bros and even Filipinos may contemplate, although for Filipinos it's going to be for a different reason. The city has opportunity, the beach is going to have a lot less. But let me tell you, as someone that has a residence in both, the pros and cons of both scenario. So the beach is the most beautiful thing ever. The white sand beaches like Boracay, Bohol, Siargao, Palawan, absolutely breathtaking. And when you go there for a visit, you're gonna go, I'm gonna live here. I didn't come 8,000 miles from home to live in a city that resembles America, like a Manila or a BGC or Cebu. I came to live on the beach for $500 a month or whatever the case may be. But as someone that's lived on the beach, you'll notice that there isn't any vloggers that I can think of off the top of my head that have stayed in a beach town in the Philippines for an extremely long period of time. It's usually oh, I moved to Boracay, and then you'll notice those vloggers are gone 6 months later. Oh, I moved to Siargao, and then a year later they're not in Siargao. With the exception of a couple people, there's not a lot of people. You'll notice they all live in Dumaguete, but that's not a typical beach, that's kind of a city. They all live in Angeles, Manila, Cebu, and that's gonna be a representation of expats coming here. The city, why I spend more time in Manila is, I knew in order to find a girl that hit my qualifications as far as being high earning and all that good stuff, would have to happen in Manila. That's the place where you're gonna meet a career woman that makes a Western salary if you're lucky enough, a girl that has some wealth built up or is not going to be dependent on you financially. At the same time, Manila has Grab. Grab is like Uber. An American's gonna be used to having taxis and Grab at their fingertips. In my other home in Boracay, they don't have Grab. They don't have anything like that. There is no taxi cab. There is no cars allowed in Boracay, point blank. Now, does like Mega World have a car if you want to buy a condo and to drive you up there? Yes. Businesses can have like a van or an SUV, but you cannot have a car in Boracay. Boracay, you're going to be staying on the beach. There is no tricycle on the beach. If you're in Boracay at low season and you want to go to Starbucks, that's, you're in station 3 and Starbucks is, basically station 1, you're going to need to walk a mile. There is no Grab food delivery in Boracay. There is no Food Panda in Boracay. So you're not going to be in that snap your fingers and have the food at the lobby, snap your fingers and you're going to, from BGC to Pasay or BGC to Makati or Quezon City. Whereas in the city, you have all of those American conveniences. Also, healthcare. People will go, how's the healthcare in Bohol or Boracay? And the reality is gonna be, without going into detail, if you have health problems, my best advice for you would be to be near St. Luke's Medical Center. St. Luke's is the best the Philippines has to offer. There's one in BGC, and that's where you're gonna wanna go if you could be in a situation where you're gonna need to save your life. If you're in a province beach, which every beach is a province, you could have a serious issue, and this healthcare is less than stellar, to be brutally honest with you. There's just so many different variables. If you're a young, healthy kite surfer, by all means, go live at the beach. You have no health problems, you're probably comfortable camping, you're probably comfortable with not such a fancy grocery store, you're probably comfortable with less than Western standards of living. In Boracay, the two places I know that are Western standards of living that aren't a hotel, which is what they're angling for you to be in, these are not really directly on the beach, but there's going to be Boracay New Coast, which I've toured in my previous videos, and then there's going to be a place called Scandi behind D-Mall. But these are not oceanfront, and these are the two places I can think of off the top of my head which are going to be Western standards of living. So outside of that, You know, like my place is right on the beach, doesn't open up to the beach, but it's right on the beach, but it's not Western standards. It's not a fancy place. It's like a surf, you know, little spot. It's not anything fancy. That's what mostly you're gonna run into unless you just stay at the Hanan for 5,000 a night every night. And that's what they're angling towards. You know, in Boracay, for instance, another example, you cannot build over 6 stories. So you're not gonna live in a BGC-like condo on a beach. They're all provinces. Boracay's the most built up one because they got like a Starbucks, they got a Shangri-La, they got a Discovery Shores, but they're not gonna have an S&R or a Landers or, you know, many conveniences that'll make you feel like you're in America. So it's really the $1 million question. And the best solution if you're super wealthy is probably, or even, you know, extremely financially stable realistically because of the pricing, is to have a place at the beach and a place in the city. You know, pick a beach, and it doesn't need to be one of the big 4 that I mentioned or whatever, and you have a place there, and then you have a place in a BGC, a Cebu, a Ilo, whatever it is that you like. But otherwise, what you can do is get a place in the city, even if you're not a city person, and then you can go to a different beach every weekend. The flights are dirt cheap, the hotels are dirt cheap, and you can move around. But, you know, some people can handle living at the beach. It's not that bad, but the grocery stores I've noticed in the provinces, beaches, even if they're super tourist places like a Boracay, Bohol, Siargao, are less than stellar. You know, in Siargao, such a popular place, so expensive to fly there. Yet I was shopping at sari stores in Siargao. There is no Starbucks. There is no Shangri-La. There is no, you know, they're not really built up like that. It's more of like a bohemian, hippie, like Northern California vibe. And that's beautiful if you're comfortable with brownouts and you're comfortable with this and that. But that's the thing. These province beaches are gonna have brownouts. If you don't have a generator where you live, or you're not at a hotel that's gonna flip a generator, you could be sitting in the dark for a long time, even in a Dumaguete. If you're in Manila, there's no such thing as a brownout. If you're in a Cebu building, they got a backup generator. So these are things you need to take into consideration when you're just watching YouTube channels and thinking, oh, I'm gonna live on a white sand beach and this and that. While that sounds good in theory, and you could very easily do it if you're a rugged guy that doesn't mind brownouts, doesn't mind a proper grocery store, doesn't mind no building with an infinity pool, doesn't mind not having a gym in their building, and, you know, just wants to just be a beach bum, that's awesome. And I love my time I spend in Boracay. But realistically, Manila has better dating options. Manila has that convenience of taxi cabs, Grab Food, Food Panda, tons of 5-star restaurants, casinos, infinity pools, gyms in every building, Bonifacio Global City. I mean, it's just, it's a complete 180. It's, you know, when I'm in Boracay and I come back to Manila, I feel like I'm coming back to America. Not in a bad way, just like I'm coming back to where it's the center of it all. If you order a Lazada package and you're in an island, it could take 2 weeks to get there. If you order it in Manila, it might be there in 24 hours through Lazada or Amazon. If you order an Amazon package to a Boracay, it could take a month to get there. If you order an Amazon package to Manila, it might be there in 6 days. These are just things that you need to factor in. So in conclusion, if you're an older guy, as much as you might love the beach, I would live in Manila or Cebu or somewhere near a great hospital just for safety reasons, and take those trips on the weekend to those beautiful beaches and, you know, neighboring countries, etc. But I really think from a healthcare perspective, the city wins. If you're a spoiled American that's used to just snap your fingers and boom, 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 and all these TGI Fridays, Denny's, all the Chili's and different restaurants and everything all pristine and perfect, definitely live in a city. If you are a guy that's a wanderlust backpacker, you know, you want to live in Siargao, you want to live in Boracay, you want to live in Siquijor, you know, Bohol, Palawan, you can easily handle it. But the convenience of the city is hard to escape. You know, if you lived a good life in America and you're used to Amazon Prime and Postmates and all that, you're probably going to be more comfortable at least having a primary residence in a Manila or a Cebu or a Ilo or an Angeles or something, and just venturing out to those beautiful white sand beaches or having a second place on those white sand beaches. So I've never seen anyone do a video on this. I just wanted to bring this to you guys and give you my perspective as someone that's lived here almost 2 years and has places in both. Boracay is the most beautiful beach I've ever seen in my life, but the convenience of Manila and the dating options of Manila, etc., are unparalleled. All right, guys. I do consultations. You can reach out to me. There's a link in my bio, jasperinthephilippines@gmail.com.